Okay guys, it's broken down, or broken. We are going to put a piece of angle here, and a piece of angle here. There you go, super crude. Not proud of that work. But should be strong enough. This one I overlapped the plate, got all welding in it, there's all grinding and stuff from me working. That one I came off the front and angled down. There's a full bead underneath this piece of angle line, some smaller beads. It's all welded in the corners, welded here, welded up the front. Then I put this angle line on here just as an additional brace. Pretty much tying this and this together a little better. And that's it, because that end's pulling up, this end's pushing down. If the plate needs to be stiffer than this, I give up. That big 6-inch heavy steel wheel. Went back with a 4-inch wheel, which this bike originally came with. But I used a Manco aluminum wheel, the ugliest one I had. Put tire starch right on it. There's a story about that. I think I'll say it before I continue on. I had bought a rim half because one of the rim halves was cracked. So I went to take the rim half. Well, I bought a rim half, came with a rim half in this tire. So I said to myself, the tire is good, I'll put my good rim half on this and use this tire. And this was the tube I pulled out. Okay, I don't know what the hole is in that, 10 inches maybe. So, and it wasn't good either. So, the guy had got all these wheels and everything from. Actually put new tubes in the other halves, so we're good. On the back, I went with a 5-inch, matching to the front. With an old school slick. Okay. Now we'll get into detail why I did that. But the best of all, I put a 72 sprocket on it. Okay. Junior did the calculations before, but he never wrote it down. Originally we were 11 and 60. Now we're 11 and 72 on a smaller tire. So the smaller tire has a smaller rollout and a higher numerical gear ratio. So that should be night and day to what was on there. The other tire was about that much bigger. The other tire was a 15-inch. I think it said on there. I have to measure this one to see what it is so I can get a yardstick. Okay. This is just a basic number. Talking about 10 and a half. So 10 and a half to a 15 is a big difference if you remember. The other tire went all the way up into here. So it was much wider and whatever it is. So bear in mind this bike originally came with tires this size. So that's actually a step up. I have the original rear tire. But that was only a 62 sprocket on a small wheel. So that should help us out of the hole. I'll help somebody out of the hole. I don't know who's going to be riding this thing. I don't know who wants to. I'm going to offer it to anybody. As long as they don't sue me when they get hurt. Basically what we did was, I did it this way. I made myself a spacer here, a spacer in there, 3 washers here, and 2 washers here. And the reason I did that is so I could shim this and make it exact with the lining up of the sprocket or the clutch in the front, which I can't do with this chain. This is Junior's bent chain, and as it rolls, it's bent. So I know I'm in the ballpark because I remember how far away the last sprocket was, and I was a hair bit too far this way. So I'm definitely closer. I'm actually just clearing the bolts in here. So, what is that? That is the most annoying sounding motorcycle I've ever heard. Shortened up this. We have it just coming up here. And it is what it is. We're down to the brakes. So we're down to the brakes. But like I said, as soon as I shim this exact, I'll do the brakes, or I'll make the brakes that it Gives me enough leeway to shim it, which is probably the way it's going to be. I'm going to do on paper. I'll show you guys the difference between the small tire, big tire, with the sprocket as opposed to the other one with the small sprocket. Show you how much more out of the hole it's going to give me, how much bottom end. It's going to be like starting off 2 gears lower. So that's it. So I think it looked cooler with the other tires, but it's not quite centered with the fender, is it? What a bike. That's the way it works out, though. So oh, and starting this thing, oof. Talk about a wrist herder. The flywheel is so small and light, and the ignition time is so far advanced that when you pull it, it explodes and rips it right back out of your hand without starting. If this was a 2-stroke, it would fire backwards. So with that said, this cover's coming off, and I'm putting that ugly silver 5-horse one on here. I just think it'll make life easier, especially for driving around town testing it. Like yesterday when I was driving it, I had an issue, and I had to turn it off. And it was about a mile from the house. And I had to walk. Oh yeah, we don't want that no more. So with that said, I've spent a lot more time, a lot more money than I wanted to. I bought 2 new bearings for the back. Ooh, they're cheap. They're like $4 a piece. I don't know. Went to it for a $15 chain. Hardware. 2 bearings. I don't know. Maybe when it's said and done, we'll be into this for like $40. I'm stealing the brake lever and cable off one of my other bikes, one of the old bikes. That's what we're going with. So, is it stiffer? A little. Is it stiff enough? We're gonna find out.